Our Red Rooster charters are always our favorites, every year. Even if the fishing's not good, it's great to be on that boat. This year, no exception. The 8-day trip is our longest charter at the present time. And this one simply is what a 8 to 10 day charter should be. It's a variety type trip. It's not necessarily cow hunting, although we've had as big as a 283 and a few cows on this type of trip. But in general, it is your more traditional 8 to 10 day trip where we're looking for variety, which would be yellowtail, dorado, tuna, have a shot at, wahoo as well. So that's the plan. On this year's trip, we had 26 guys. Initially 28 were booked, which would be the max for the trip on this duration voyage. 2 of the guys had to cancel out at the last minute, and so we rode the boat with a full crew and 26 people, which meant plenty of room on the rail and really a nicer fishing experience. Given a limited load to begin with, and even a little bit more limited for this particular charter. I always worry a little bit about a charter that starts off on the first day's fishing that's good. It seems like, you can only go downward. Usually, I don't know if it's purposeful or not, but the skippers usually, we kind of lead into things and then try and finish with a flourish. On this particular trip, on our way down to the ridge, which was the goal for the destination, the conditions were going to be a little bit snotty. We knew that with the weather. But we wound up with great fishing on that first day. Schoolie-sized tuna in that 15 to 35 pound class of fish, and the fishing was basically pretty much wide open. And then from there we motored on down to the upper ridge, fished a little bit along the way, trolling around looking for stuff. Fished the upper ridge, and that was very challenging. Conditions were not great on the ridge. The water had turned over, the water temps had dropped about 5 degrees, and we only scraped up a couple of wahoo, both on the troll, nothing on the jigs or iron or wahoo bombs. But we stayed on the ridge for a little bit of time, then worked over to Cedros to try the yellowtail, and then the skipper made an interesting call and rolled the dice, and we did a little bit of a gamble. And we'll get back to that one later. there are few things more democratizing than heading out with 20, 30 other guys on a long-range boat, for days worth of fishing. In this particular charter, we had a wide range of people. We had folks that came from Missouri, Washington, Georgia, Oregon, Maryland, Maine, Nebraska, and of course California. This time nobody from out of country, although we did have three Korean guys that were aboard. At least one of them had a business in the LA area. Fellow didn't speak a whole lot of English, but enough to get by. And absolutely, as one would think on a trip like this, everybody winds up getting along with one another, and everybody kind of shares a common interest and hobby in fishing, and we all are equally, subject to being embarrassed by a critter with a brain the size of the tip of your little finger. In other words, fish can embarrass us all. It doesn't matter of what the social strata we come from. We had a couple of Baptist ministers that were on this trip with us, and they were some great guys and enjoyed the fishing. We had people, from all walks of life, and all sorts of folks. We had guys that were on this trip that had been on charters with us for 5 years or more before, and we had some newbies that had never been on a long-range trip as well. One thing I've got to say on this charter, and you'll see it in some of the on some of the GoPro type camera work later, the guys worked well together. We could have many of opportunities for macrame in the corner on this boat, when everybody's bunched up on fish, especially a Dorado bite. And it was amazing to me to watch the guys, weaving their way in and out, and so we didn't have a bunch of macrame in the corner. Really beautiful stuff, and wonderful, wonderful group of guys to go fishing with.
It does. It looks blackish. Black bass on it.
There's a woman that you ought to know, and she's coming, singing soft and low, singing rock and roll. She's a joy to know. Free there, just to make my plans, dream of faraway land, anything close at hand, and she will follow me. Do you know, familiar places she's been by. I know, could it be she don't have I see her face is light. She's no longer blind. She's just hard to find.
What'd you get good around here?
That was our buddy Paul Dennis making a drive-by saying it's getting good around here, and it was. Now, Paul lives up in Oregon. As it turns out, and talking to him in the galley, this character grew up probably 5 miles from where I did as a kid. I graduated from high school the same year as one of my sisters, and then like I and other members of my family did all we could to escape from that area and migrate somewhere else, because it was a bit of the armpit of the universe where we both grew up. Yeah, but some good folk, came out of there. Yeah, they've done a lot with their lives since. And Paul's a pretty good example of that. He's a doctor up in Oregon. He's had a wonderful career and loves fishing like none other.
He's coming. away from this. Go around, little fish. You're down, corner. Yeah. Take that corner. Own that corner. Try that gap again. In the anus. Hey, good. Right in the top of the head. Yep. Pardon? Yeah, we hit that early on the dodos. And what was it, videos for a tuna? And back up. Yeah. Nicely done, nicely done. Yep. You're over. I'm over, you're under. Yep, you're under. Okay, I gotta go under you. You're good. Nicely done. That was beautiful. Take a gap. More bounce. That's good. I'm tempted to bouncer. Should have.
And I should mention, they had just caught a wahoo on that deep diver. That's the big deep diver that we sell. And they said it had been doing real well for them on the trip. And they made a positive suggestion that we ought to rig it up with single hooks in the future. We do have the VMC inline hooks that work for that application, but that's good food for thought for what we do in 2005.
Осенью, как всегда, небо с проседью. Пусто так, все прохожие исчезли вдруг. Городом правит ненастье.
Ты грустишь и глазами печальными провожаешь отчаянных красивых птиц, улетающих так далеко.
Ну что мне сделать, как помочь тебе его забыть? И это время, что пришлось нам вместе пережить. Пусть ночь сковала все вокруг тоской немыслимой. Шумит осенний дождь, он смоет все следы.
Я научусь тебя любить, я научусь любить, но каждый день тебе я это буду говорить. Не оставляй меня одну, не отдавай меня ему, об этом я так молюсь.
Ты грустишь, я грущу. Ты грустишь, я грущу. С горечью понимаем, было в ничью сыграна эта партия, но тем сильней нас тянет сегодня друг к другу.
Полчаса до полуночи мы с тобой словно две свечи сгорим дотла в бесконечности нашей любви.
Ну что мне сделать, как помочь тебе его забыть? И это время, что пришлось нам вместе пережить. Пусть ночь сковала все вокруг тоской немыслимой. Шумит осенний дождь, он смоет все следы.
Я научусь тебя любить, я научусь любить, но каждый день тебе я это буду говорить. Не оставляй меня одну, не отдавай меня ему, об этом я. Я научусь тебя любить, я научусь любить, но каждый день тебе я это буду говорить. Не оставляй меня одну, не отдавай меня ему, об этом я так молюсь. Ты грустишь.
In discotheque dawn, that's when it came to me. I've been raving through the night, looking for some company. It was the mambo talking, it's got a lot to say. Do you come here often? Do you wanna play? We're hitchhiking to Paris, and zigzag like the same. Well, Hollywood promise they'll never be the same. There's a cold. The movers and the shakers,
That's the way it is on that water.
and a tango never knows.
I'll take him.
To the Motor City, that's where I get my shoe. I need some inspiration. I've got a lot of time to lose. From British Square up to Jasmine, and in a bunch of Vita, I find my beauty queen. In England, there's a moment, a nation in a groove, of music and emotion, and make you wanna move. Take it to the river, start singing in the rain. I like a jungle fever, got me in the mood again. Up to the freeway, Jones Bar Hollywood. I let them hard soda, the can if I could.
That was cool.
Gonna build myself a castle high up in the clouds. There'll be skies outside my window. Streets and crowds. Will find myself alone, sailing to the blue. Live with gold and swordfish. Forget the time of you. innocence is gone astray, coming back to enjoy the fray in a tangle of night and daylight sound. All completeness in the morning, asleep on your side. I'll be waking up the crewman on an hourboat ride. She'd respond like a limousine, brought alive on a silent screen through the shuddering breath of yesterday. There's the center of the needy, incredible scenes. I'll believe you in the future, your life and your dreams. As the cavalry of despair takes a stand in the ladies' hair for the favor of making sweet 16. You make my life and time the book of blues is singing, and I have to choose. Thank you very much. That was, of course, King Crimson's Happy Saturday.
For the charter, we had the first day, conditions were very nice. The last couple of days, fishing conditions were great, but we lost 3 days really with conditions that were a little snotty on the ridge and back over at Cedros, where the water had really turned over a bit. And between the current, wind, water temp drop, the things were a little challenging. You know, every week is different, every trip is different. More scores of wahoo, you know, in 3 days before we went out, and no doubt there'll be better scores after we came back in. But we still had good fishing, and that's the benefit with the longer trips. If you have a couple of days where weather puts things down, you've got days to recover from it. So if we had been on a 4 or 5 day trip, let's say 5 or 6, well, we could on a 6 day we could have hit the same areas. That weather would have really had a bigger impact on it. You know, with 8 days time, we can absorb 2 or 3 days of crappy conditions and enjoy the benefit of the good ones. And as this trip turned out, you know, over 800 fish were caught. Plenty of them released. I know I released a lot of Dorado as well as the tuna. And a lot of the other guys did the same. It was just a wonderful, wonderful trip, and probably the best Dorado fish I've ever seen. Congratulations to Mark. He's been on charters with us for many, many years, but earned his first jackpot on this trip. So congratulations to you and the other guys, especially the 2 fellows that picked up the wahoo. I know they should have come on my lure, but you know, doggone it. I guess somebody else has to do it. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for being on the charter, guys, and thanks for those of you watching the trip. If you ever get the opportunity to come out for one of the charters aboard the Long Range San Diego fleet, absolutely do it. And certainly there is no finer fishing experience than going on the Red Rooster. Excellent crew. I just can't say that enough on how good the crew is on this boat. There's continuity with the people on the boat. You'll see the same guys, develop through, like in this case, Skipper Tommy had been a deckhand on that boat for many years. I remember when he first got on the boat, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago as a kid, and now he's skippering the thing. And the same can be said with the other guys on there. That's one of the things that really sets the Red Rooster apart from other operations, is the fact that their deckhands are with them for years. They take care of their people, and their people learn, and it's the crew that makes the trip in many respects. And oh, the food was great. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next trip. Bye-bye.